legends. I hope you're all fantastic. As you could probably guess from that intro, we're going to be talking about Les Pauls today, in particular this Les Paul that I've got in my hands. And I want to do this for two reasons. One, I want to talk about this particular guitar, the year it was manufactured, and why I think it's one of the best years in terms of Les Paul manufacturing. And also, I want to talk about some of the mods I did to this and why I did them. And surprise, surprise, I really grew up loving Gary Moore, Thin Lizzy, John Sykes, so many players who were wielding Les Pauls and in a lot of cases Sunburst Les Pauls. So this particular instrument began life as a 2002 Les Paul Standard Premium Plus. And if that's not a confusing name, I don't know what is. The idea with these, I believe, was Gibson tried to do a sort of back to basics thing in 2002 for the 50th anniversary of the Les Paul. So this was a production model. The first thing that jumps out at this is the immaculate top. Like that's kind of custom shop, triple, quadruple, quintuple A grade or something like that. Again, this is just a production model, but it's one of the sweetest looking Les Paul tops I've ever seen. Look at that flame. It is gorgeous. Furthermore, it is light. I'm guessing this is well under 9 pounds in the old language, and it almost feels chambered, but it's not. It's a one-piece back on here. Again, this two-piece beautiful maple top. There's a rosewood fingerboard, and this is, well, it's not quite a one-piece neck because there are some wings on the headstock right there, but about as close as you'll get to a one-piece neck. All original frets, and that's like the last all original thing left on here because I have played this guitar a lot. A lot of the early ragdoll recordings feature this instrument as sort of the main guitar. If you go and listen to the studio recording of the track Heaven Above, I'm playing the guitar solo on this guitar. I'm fairly certain I tracked most of the rhythm guitar parts on that album with this guitar as well. And I played it live a lot, being so light. You get all the Les Paul girth and power, but it was not back-breaking, which I definitely appreciate. And over the years, it accumulated some mods to the point where basically it doesn't have any of the original electronics or hardware now. So we'll talk about those really quickly, then we'll hear some sounds. So I think the first thing that I did was I swapped out the stock Kluson style tuners on here because one of them basically broke. It just fell apart. These are Goto SD90 locking tuners, and they're that kind of lock where you can't tell that they lock on there. But if you look really carefully on there, basically you pull the string all the way through and it's got the Goto locking mechanism. I replaced the bridge and the tailpiece with Tone Pros parts. I've replaced all the pots and all the wiring in here. And probably most importantly, my buddy Martin Smith of Martin A. Smith Pickups wound me these PAF replicas for this guitar. And it wasn't intentional, but Martin did what I like to call the accidental Gary Moore greenie mod on this, where installing the magnets, the two magnets are out of phase, or they're of opposite polarity on here. So you get the full voice bridge humbucker and neck humbucker, but when you're in the middle position on here, you get that iconic greeny out of phase tone. And when I was growing up, I thought all you had to do was turn the pickup around. Of course, famously, greenie has the neck pickup kind of turned the other way around. You actually have to flip the magnet if you want to get that. So you don't have to turn your neck pickup around, but if you want to do that so-called mod to it, all you have to do is pull the magnet out of it and flip it around, and you will get the infamous greenie mod in the middle. So we should hear this. Let's start out with a sort of Marshall Plexi style thing on here, the same tone that you heard in that intro. We'll go bridge humbucker, neck humbucker, and then I'll give you that middle. And it's like the telly from hell in the middle. middle position totally has its own character. And it's one of those things where I don't think it works just switching from neck to middle to bridge to have 3 sounds on there. I think of this as having the neck and the bridge as the primary tones. The way most people would probably use a Les Paul, you just flip between them, you've got a brighter, tighter sound, and then you've got a fuller, creamier sound on there. But then when I want to play with that unique tone, I'll just set it in the middle and work the volume and tone controls on there. Let's hear it now with like a cleaner Fender style amp and a bunch of reverb in that middle position, because that kind of gives you that old school Peter Green thing. Then we will hear this guitar with all the distortion, because I think it may surprise some people that, yeah, PAF style pickups sound great for tight, high gain. Essentially, you're playing around with the pre-EQ into the amp, and rather than overloading it too hard, you can really kind of control what's going in there. You're not overloading it with too much low end, and you can get this awesome, tight, chunky tone out of it. It is always fun rediscovering a guitar that you've got so much history with, and I think I need to start taking this one out a little bit more, and especially playing it on the channel, because I love those vintage style tones on here. Definitely keep your eye out for these 2002 era Standard Plus, Standard Premium Plus, and just Les Paul standards, because I think it's going to be remembered as another golden age for some of these Les Pauls. You know, you've obviously got the original batch in there, and you've got those early 90s Goodwood era guitars that everybody talks about. I think people have cottoned onto these, that they are great, but you can still find them used for a pretty decent price, and sometimes you can find them with incredible tops like this. For me, when I think of a burst Les Paul, you know, I think of this incredible top. I think of it having a really great weight, and then I think to most of us, one of the most, if not the most iconic Les Pauls of all time is Greenie. So being able to do that mod to the pickups on there. And I just love the double creams as well. Martin did an amazing job. I'll put a link to Martin's website in the video description, because these were really the final piece of the puzzle with this guitar. I love the way it played and felt, and I'd rolled a few different pickups through there. And as soon as I got it in here, I was like, yep, this scratches that vintage style Les Paul itch without having to go like custom shop or historic or Murphy Lab. And you can see it has acquired plenty of wear over the years just from general use, which I really like. So I'm looking forward to playing this guitar a whole bunch more. But for now, I want to hear from all of you. What is your best or worst kept secret when it comes to different production errors for Les Pauls in particular? What sort of Les Pauls or Les Paul style guitars are you playing? Or are you just somebody who's never really got the fascination with these guitars? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, there's various ways to support me. Just check the video description. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.